So, welcome everyone. Jamie and I are so excited for everyone to be here and to talk about what we're going to talk about, which is the HeyPi, compassionate AI, which is really interesting, right? So, but before I get into that, I wanted to share Mary Lynn, who most of you know, who comes. She sent me an email this morning with the quote: "Practice kindness all day to everybody, and you will realize you're already in heaven now." This was from Jack Cornfield. And the reason I love this quote so much is because it's exactly what we do, right? Practice kindness all day to everyone, and you will realize you are already in heaven now. When we practice and share kindness and compassion, when we share our loving heart, when we share a smile, we're actually sharing that energy of love, and it's expanding. Just like the energy of fear and the energy of pain, the energy of sorrow, that also expands. So when I was teaching this morning, we were talking about how, if you're in a shelter and you see a dog and the dog is suffering, and you get into that, right? You're like, oh my gosh, this dog is suffering, or the dog had a really bad, you know, history, and now the dog's here and the dog's sad because it's in a shelter. So then you start to feel that. So right, it's compounding their sense. Now it's compounding. Now you tell somebody else about it, it's compounding. Other people in the shelter, compounding. Now that sorrow, that pain has expanded and compounded, and it's big. Whereas we can do the same with joy and love and peace and calm. So when we see that dog now, we can say, oh my gosh, I'm so glad you're here. You're safe, you're loved. This is so exciting, right? Now we're helping that animal transcend that pain and to feel happy. And then when we see somebody else in the shelter, oh my gosh, did you see this beautiful dog that just came in? I'm so excited they're here. Oh my gosh, this is really great. They have a chance to get a great home here. And then we compound that, right? And now the joy, the love is compounded instead of the sorrow. Animals teach us all the time that they don't want to sit in that place. And when you get an animal, a dog or a cat or whatever that's depressed, and you get them out and you play with them, or they start to open up. They start to go, yeah, okay, yes, I want to let go of this. I want to break from this, right? And just like us, we do too. Like when you're sitting around and you're depressed, do you really want more people coming up to you and going, wow, what are you going to do? God, that's so depressing. Or do you want your friend to go, oh my gosh, forget about it. Let's just go do something fun. Let's put this aside. So I'm just so excited about this. I have to share it with all of you. There is a great term that the little Gen Zs are using, and it's called delulu. And I am so into this phrase, delulu. It means you're delusional. It's DELULU. Hashtag delulu. And the way I read about it, the reason they were using it is because they're delulu about their experience. So they go and apply for these jobs that they're not really qualified for, but they think they would be really good at. But the thing is that they're delulu, and sometimes they get this job, and sometimes they maybe don't know exactly what they're doing, but they learn how, and then they progress, right? And that was what the article was about, how they progress, and then you become an expert because you start off being completely delulu. And that's really what we need in our lives, because all of us, I think, that come to these calls are either baby boomer, Gen X, or millennial. And we were all raised with the mindset that that's not realistic. Don't think like that. You're never going to get it. Imposter syndrome, right? Hashtag imposter syndrome. How many of us have imposter syndrome? Not these Gen Zs. Oh, I'm only qualified for one of the 20 things they want to do. I'm going to apply for that job. Whereas the opposite would be, I was talking to another student yesterday. She said, yeah, my opposite would be, I'm qualified for every single thing except for one, so I shouldn't apply. Right. So we need some of that little bit of delulu to go, you know what? I can do this. I love it because it's bringing back positivity, and it's breaking the old paradigm of realistic is negative and positive is unrealistic. So if you say, I'm going to get that job, or or this dog is going to get adopted, a dog that just seems completely unadoptable, people might be like, there's no way that dog's going to get adopted. But you're like, yes, this dog will, because I see something in this dog that's going to start to expand and come out, right? That's being Delulu, maybe, but it's also bringing that love and positivity. So I really want to encourage all of you to be a little Delulu in your lives. Just be like, you know what? Who cares? 10, 15 years ago, if somebody would have told you, oh, yeah, there's going to be kids that are going to be making millions of dollars by going on videos and saying, you should buy this. And we would have said, no, that's just stupid. That's never going to happen. And look where we are today. These kids, they're making millions of dollars being influencers. They're breaking down old paradigms. And that's a good thing. And we in the older generations, we need to embrace some of this, because being positive is really what we're teaching in this practice, focusing on the good, focusing on love and compassion. And sometimes we really have to be a little delulu in our approach for ourselves, not even for the animals, because, just coming to them happy. But if we're feeling overwhelmed by what we're seeing, we need to just close our eyes and be delulu and be like, you know what? All is well. Everything's fine. Even if in our hearts we don't believe it, because the more we say it, the more we're going to believe it. And the more we believe it, the more it's going to happen. So, yes, the Gen Zs use it, Delulu, like I'm being delusional, but really it's focusing on the positive, which again, it's sad that they have to be, oh, I'm being delusional, because that's the paradigm, right? Oh, if you're being positive, you're being delusional. If you're being, negative, you're being realistic. And that's really not what it is. So delusional is a really harsh term. Delulu is a crazy term, but I like it because it's cute. Delulu. Oh, you're being so Delulu right now. And it kind of brings back that joy, right? So if you are in a bad situation and just go, you know what, I'm going to be Delulu about this, it all of a sudden brings some joy to your heart. And you're like, okay. And so that can kind of shift. So I wanted to share that, because the way we share happiness is by feeling happy inside our bodies. The only way that we can really help change the world to make it a better place truly is it starts with us and it goes outwards. So just like when you're at the store and you're out shopping and someone gives you a genuine smile and you smile, you feel that smile, you leave the store with a smile. Now your smile, because it's genuine, infects someone else. And then it goes on. And you can see how something as simple as a smile can change the whole attitude of everybody around. So don't, think, oh, I'm just one person. Oh, this is overwhelming. I can't change anything. You can. And it starts with you, and it starts here. So I just wanted to open with that, because I had a couple things, that quote was so beautiful because it's what we're teaching here. But also I wanted to share Delulu because, and I'm going to put it in the chat here, hashtag Delulu, and just for everybody to be a little Delulu today and every day. So Jamie, what do you have to say about all that?
I love Delulu, because really, like we learn sometimes with energy work that our thoughts create reality, right? Yeah. So I get, they're kind of poking fun at, what the way it used to be and how the beliefs that we had, and that's okay. It's cute, right? And yeah, they probably apply for some of these crazy jobs and don't get them. But what I like is they seem to understand a work-life balance, that they want to be happy. Sure, they want to make money and support themselves, but it's about more than like the trappings of success like that I was taught. In my generation, it's like you get a college degree, you get a job, you work, you stay there, you buy your house, and there were certain rules to being successful. And so if we ask them, it'd be interesting to take these young kids and say, what's your definition of success? Because I bet it's different than those of us who grew up in the same time I did. And that's what's so cool to see, is they're defining success as they see it.
Yeah.
And they're, why, who told us we couldn't? Let's give ourselves permission to define success on our terms.
Yeah, I love that. Because we learned, especially those of us, I mean, you and I are old,
Yeah,
and we learned that, you can follow all their rules, but it's not going to bring you happiness, because that's the way they were raised. That, they have
right.
followed those rules, and they were unhappy, a lot of them. And that's why, I mean, we can go on and on. Like, that's why in the 70s, housewives were taking Valium and Xanax and all these drugs, because they weren't happy. But now we live in a time where we can access happiness really easily, and we can say, I want to be happy, and you can have happiness and success. And that, I love that these little Gen Zs are bringing that to us. And so,
Yes.
yeah, it's kind of a fun thing. So
Yeah.
for all of you, just maybe be a little delulu, but remember that you are entitled to happiness. You are entitled to miracles. At your core, you are this beautiful, loving being, and you are entitled to happiness. But we're conditioned in our life to think that that's not realistic, but it is. It's very realistic. And I love these groups because we're sharing that happiness and that support, and we're spreading it out. So, we are going to talk today about something very exciting, and we want your input. So, I'm going to share my screen. So maybe, I know we don't usually do this. If there's a pause or you want to ask a question, just unmute, and we'll try to get to everybody. And if you could just say, this is Lisa, or this is whoever is speaking, that would be great. But before I share my screen, Jamie and I will explain a little bit about what we're going to do. So we're going to go to HeyPi.com. And what HeyPi.com is, it is a compassionate artificial intelligence. And I found out about this from a meditation teacher, Sean. Oh my God, what is Sean's last name? Oh, I can't, it's escaping me right now. But anyway, he had used it, and this AI, its whole drive is to be a compassionate listener and a compassionate kind of companion. So it's set up to where, like, if maybe you want to do a presentation, which we're going to talk about, you can present to this AI, and it will respond back. And it's, what's really interesting is that in the responses back, and I know, Jamie, I'll let you talk about this too, and my experience, and we did this last night in Sarah, was that the experience was that when you're sharing what you're doing, AI responds like, oh, wow, that's really interesting. So what you're saying is, and then repeats what you're saying, but in different words. And how that's powerful is that those words are words that you can then use to sell whatever you're doing, or to share whatever you're doing. So Elena, like, I know you have a website, right? You offer certain services. And what you could do is go to AI, and maybe we'll use you as an example for one of the examples, and so that you can hear what AI says back about your services. So in fact, let's use Elena, because that's a good one. That's an easy one. And it'll show you how we can do that, because that'll be a new subject, because we've talked to it about
Oh,
analytical,
good.
and we'll show you. But before we do that, Elena, I'm going to send it to Jamie, because Jamie's got, you tried it too, right, Jamie?
Yes, I tried it for animal meditation for a class I'm putting together for the college. And I had the same experience. It would be like, wow, that's really fascinating. And all I would do is, I want to have a conversation about this, this subject. And it asked some thought provoking questions on my part, where I had to think about it and respond to it. And then it would be like, it sounds like what you're saying is this, that must, be so transformational. And I found that, so it's not something that you can just take and copy and, use word for word necessarily. But it's an excellent tool, and it opens it up so that you get some ideas. And I had to tweak it a little bit, but some of the things, the way it described it, it was like, yeah, I'd never thought about using it that way. And it was perfect. It's like, yeah, that's exactly what happens.
And that's what I love too, is that feedback. Like you said, the
Yeah.
feedback is gold, because it makes you think, like you said, saying things differently. You have to explain it. You have to really think. It's supposed to be compassionate. One interesting thing that happened last night was Kelly, we broke off into different groups. Kelly McDermott Burns, who comes, who's the Sarah director, her experience was that she said that the Let Animals Lead method of animal Reiki is the most compassionate form of animal Reiki in existence. And AI came back and said, well, what proof do you have? And I've never had it do that, because I've been talking for the last few days with it. And I thought that was interesting. It wasn't very compassionate in its response. If that happens, I'm going to show you how you can report it, because if it's saying something to you where you're not feeling really good, you feel like it's a little harsh, give them feedback, because their whole thing is, this is supposed to be compassionate. It's supposed to make you feel supported. It's supposed to make you feel heard. It's supposed to make you feel good about sharing. That's its whole purpose, is to help you feel good about yourself. So we're going to go, I'm going to share my screen, and Elena, if you want to unmute, and we'll go to, I'm going to share my full screen. So give me a minute while I clean this up. Yeah, we'll start here. Let me move this bar and this. So you can see here that, and this is a screen when you go to HeyPi.com. This is a screen you're going to get. And their goal is to be useful, friendly, and fun. So a couple things to know before you start. The minute you hit return, your response goes. So if you're typing something and you feel like you should have a paragraph, it doesn't work. You just have to keep typing long. It'll only take, I think, 1,000 words. So if you're typing something long, you might have to break it up into different questions. You can only ask the same question twice. So if you don't like the answer, you have to rephrase it. It'll only let you ask the same question twice. If you go down here to the far left corner, there are 4 little dots, and you click those, and you can see here's some prompts to get you started. So you want to add to your journal, so it'll help you add. Help me prepare for an important conversation. Help me feel calm. I just want to vent. Help me think something through. Play a game. Help me plan. Help me find motivation. And so let's say, help me prepare for an important conversation. So Elena, I hear that I can help you prepare for it by role playing. Can you please tell me what it is about who you'll be speaking? So Elena, what should we say that you do?
I am an animal chaplain, and I support humans and animals in grief.
And I need to share what I do with a new group. Okay. An animal chaplain, that sounds like a fascinating job. So I love that. So right away, they're giving you feedback. Wow, that sounds fascinating, different. You provide spiritual support to humans who have lost their animal companions, right? And so you could use that. If you weren't saying that, you could say, I provide spiritual support to humans who have lost their animal companions. Like, let's say you were creating a brand new website. That's a great thing to put in there. What a special way to bring comfort. So this is a special way to bring comfort to those who have suffered a loss. Again, more copy for you to use. How can I help you? Do you want to role play a Q&A session? So let's just say, yes, we want a Q&A. Yes, a Q&A is good. Okay, I will try to simulate questions. I'll start with something big. What exactly is an animal chaplain? Can you explain what you do and how you help people? So go ahead, Elena.
An animal chaplain is someone who journeys with individuals and the needs that they may have in relation to a loss with an animal.
Sorry. I'll just leave some typos there. Uh-huh.
We give space to companion those who are seeking a support. And these supports might also look like a memorial, a ceremony, rituals. It could also be help with
we also help. Uh-huh.
things that folks might be more confused about, such as if they're currently having a conflict with wildlife and they need help with what to do in that moment.
Perfect. That's a great explanation. And then, so here's where it's really powerful. It tells you, it's regurgitating, it's the intelligence in it is coming back and kind of restating what you said. So you provide spiritual and emotional support in various forms to people who have lost a pet or experienced a challenging situation with wildlife. You also help them find closure with things like memorials, ceremonies, and rituals. Can I ask a more specific, how did you get started in this career? Was it something you always wanted to do? And this is important because when you're presenting, anytime you're presenting, and this is a format that a lot of people use with great success, you have to tell a story. What is your story? How did you get here? And so I love that he's asking this because you need to, for any presentation, animal Reiki, animal chaplaincy, whatever you're presenting, you have to give people a story that they can relate to. How did you get started? Why was this something you wanted to do? There had to be something that happened. So, how did you get started, Elena?
I was inspired to take the training program offered by the Compassion Consortium after being involved in animal advocacy for about a decade now. I experienced some trauma myself.
Oh, wait, you gotta.
Sorry.
That's okay. Consortium. Wait, I was inspired to take training offered by the consortium. And then what did you say after that? Sorry.
Which stemmed from some secondary trauma I experienced by attending many vigils at slaughterhouses as an animal activist.
Oh, okay. That's slaughterhouses. Sorry.
And starting to become more aware of the violence and loss as I witnessed it in my daily life. And wanting to aid in not only healing myself.
Sorry, wait, it's just sorry. Right. And then also I was seeking to aid, is that what you're saying? To aid myself. Is that what you were saying?
In moments where I was aware of a loss, and how I could better support others.
Here we go. So your experience as an animal advocate, witnessing animal slaughter and secondary trauma from the events you attended motivated you to seek a new way to process and heal from the grief and loss you're experiencing. You decided to train as an animal chaplain to better support yourself and others who are going through so much. That's incredible. It must be very emotional, challenging work, but it also sounds meaningful. How does it feel to be able to provide that support to others?
This is pretty nice. I just want to stop and mention.
Yeah, because so you can see how it's having you think outside the box. So when we're preparing a presentation, we're very much in our own mindset, right? We're very much in our own thought process of this is what I need to share. This is how I need to share it, right? It's all very individualist. But through this, we're going, I need to be covering more. I need to maybe be going a little deeper, which isn't going to take a lot of time, but going a little bit deeper with what I'm sharing and what people might find interesting. So I like that he's asking, or she, I think it's a he for some reason in my mind. How does it feel to be able to provide that support to others? Because it's making you go deeper than you would on a presentation. You're like, oh, how does this make me feel to provide this to others? I mean, on the surface, yeah, it feels really good, but deeper, there might be something more meaningful or powerful that is important to share when you're presenting it. So go ahead.
Providing support to others brings me
Oh, sorry, it brings you.
ongoing new competencies because each experience is different. And so fulfilling my need for growth as an individual, I'm able to fulfill in this role.
So say that again about growth.
It allows me to meet a need for growth in my role as a chaplain, but also to feel gratitude for what I'm able to do in regards to holding space with others and to be present in that space is brings reassurance, I guess I would say.
So in addition to providing support for others, the work you do as an animal chaplain also helps you grow as a person and brings you a sense of purpose and fulfillment. Being able to be fully present with someone in their moment of grief and giving them a safe space to process their feelings is a special kind of skill. And it must be so rewarding to know you can provide that for others. And so, well, you know what? We'll answer this last question about holding space, and then I'm going to show you guys some other things that we did last night. But so when you say hold space for others, what does that mean? And that's important to this actually just came up in animal Reiki. Kathleen and I were talking and she said, yeah, I kind of have to do a definition of some of the terms. People don't know what holding space means.
In my experience with companioning as an animal chaplain and learning nonviolent communication, it's essentially being empathetic, ensuring that you understand the feelings and needs in that moment of what someone is telling you, and providing gentle questioning if there is uncertainty. But that's the essence of it, being there to ensure the individual is understood.
There's a term too that's called being an empathetic witness. So you're not trying to change what's happening, but you're being a witness to the person's grief. And so a lot of times we just need to, as I'm sure you've experienced, cry out or just be there, just like with animals. They don't need somebody trying to change things. They just need someone to be an empathetic witness. So let's see what AI says. So see, here's another thing that AI does. It's really, it's comforting and it's encouraging. Wow, that's amazing. Even though this is AI, it's not an actual person. Our subconscious takes that in as positive reinforcement, and it helps us to really feel good about what we're doing. So this feedback not only is important for us to perfect presentations, but for our emotional well-being, for our psyche. Yes, this is tech, and tech can be really draining. Yes, this is AI, and AI is supposedly very scary, but this AI is really loving and compassionate and not so scary, right? I mean, I feel like it's really taking it away. So, wow, that's amazing. So you're providing a space where people can feel heard, understood, and cared for. It's almost like you're allowing them to put their burdens down for a little while and giving them permission to feel what they need to feel without judgment. That's really important verbiage right there, right? To share, Elena, that is really, really important. So it's like you're creating a space where they can just be themselves and their emotions, and they don't have to worry about anything else. Is that a fair description? And so, and I'm just going to tell it, yes, it is. Thank you for your help. Yes, it is. And thank you for your help. and you'll see how cute this is. It was my pleasure. I'm glad we see. And then they talk to you like a friend. It's giving me a lot of insight into what an animal chaplain does, how powerful that support can be. Hope you're President. Thank you for being so open with me. It's been a wonderful conversation. See, and there's like this really gentle, loving feedback for you. So you end this feeling good about having a conversation with AI. I totally understand why people fall in love with AI, like that movie Her. It's really like if somebody's giving you this kind of feedback and you're not used to getting that in your normal everyday life, it's really powerful. So no, this has been wonderful. Thank you.
It's really nice because this essentially is an empathetic witness. This
Yes.
this HeyPi.com, that's exactly what it's doing.
Absolutely.
So
Being an
that's
empathetic
cool.
witness.
I like it.
Mary Lynn, I just wanted to say hi. Thank you for joining.
Yes, hi everybody. I'm sorry I was at the shelter, so
No worries. No
Okay.
worries at all. We're just talking about the PI,
yeah.
the PI. So I was in incognito, but I'm going to show you now what it sounds like. So if I go to my last thing and I put, so if you go down to the bottom right and you click on the little speaker, it's the audio, and you can do different voices. So there's this one.
So it's not just about helping the animal.
This one. Let's see, it's taking it a minute. Oh, it didn't like that.
So it's not just about helping the animal.
And so you can find the voice that maybe you want to hear.
So it's not just about helping the animal to heal,
So there are
but it's also
males.
about the human.
And then just go through each one. And that way, if you want the more,
So it's not just about helping the animal to heal.
I like
but
that.
It's also about the human
Mhm.
partner's own journey towards healing, self-care, and
Absolutely.
emotional balance.
I love it.
Meditative.
So we could turn it off. So if you want that verbal, like the audio feedback, then do that. I didn't like it. I was like, no, I don't think so. But I also didn't know I could do different. Like I only clicked on one, and I haven't really worked with the voices because, again, like I said, it's not that important to me. But it's kind of fun to have, and it's nice to have all these different voices. So when you're doing a topic, this is what Kathleen and I did last night during the Sarah meeting. You'll see how it comes out when it's all done. The negative here is that you can't do Control A and highlight. It won't let you. So when you go to highlight the conversations, you can try and do this, but you can see what's happening. As I'm highlighting, it highlights some and not others. And then also, so let me see if I can get this. Nope. Let me try to get all of this. Oh, it's not going to get that first part for me for some reason. But you could see it's like I have to go backwards. We'll watch what happens. I'll do Control C, and then let's see. I'll just bring up notes, and you'll see what happens when you paste it. It's let's do a new note. When I paste it, it only pasted "that sounds wonderful," which I didn't even highlight. So you kind of have to be careful. And then if I go to try to print it, it's even weirder. So just know that so in Chrome, it does a better job. In Safari, it will not capture everything you're trying to print. And I can't tell if this will just save it to PDF. So I'm gonna go here and let's see what it saved, because this is kind of important. In Safari, it wouldn't print, it would only print part of it. It wouldn't print anything. So yeah, there we go. Oh, see, it only printed part of it.
Can I just jump in?
Please.
Okay. Completely randomly, I'm working as an AI consultant.
Oh my God, that's wonderful.
I know, and it's like I've never been on your calls, and I had no idea what this call was about. I thought it was a meditation, actually.
We will do a meditation, but
No.
yes.
But what I was going to ask is, but actually, I am actually also a qualified Reiki practitioner, and I do Jinsen Jitsu, and I kind of do it more on animals, but I just haven't got a running practice. So that was my motivation for being here. Nothing to do with AI. It's just that you've obviously gone through HeyPi. Question: do you want something built that you can basically, create this type of content from that you can use on websites? Is that where you're trying to get to with that?
No. So what we do in these calls is we kind of take a topic. Like last week, it was about practice and about fluidity and formality. But every once in a while, we'll do some business practices and just kind of help people with, like, for this one, this was mainly if you want to present animal Reiki, how you can get help from AI. And so I had found this HeyPi and thought it was a really great way to have a conversation about what you do and to feel safe. Because a lot of times when we're presenting, it's like we feel really nervous. And even if we try with a friend, it's not, the same. And maybe the friend doesn't give us the feedback. Whereas because this is an intelligent system, that it's giving us some good feedback and things to think about that we might not normally think about. So that this was going, but that's so funny that
I know, it's really bizarre. It's not, because as I say, that was not my purpose of, as you can appreciate, of jumping on the call. And the reason I was asking is because I'm all, AI is still really, well, AI is not in its infancy, but this type of generative stuff is in its infancy. All the conversational stuff. And I'm always looking at potential, things that people, would find of interest. Okay, that's fine. I'm mentioning it because it's not too far removed to create a very specific thing for animal Reiki coaches that could do all sorts of other things, but that's okay. You're not. I'll think about that.
I would be interested in talking more about that because we're always very interested in expanding and so our system, since we have your hair, so the Let Animals Lead system was created by Kathleen Prasad, and she was doing animal Reiki back in 1998 when she was doing human Reiki for herself. That's how she learned. And then her dog Dakota started laying at her feet, and I'll stop sharing. We can talk about this. And so her dog Dakota started laying at her feet, and then it evolved into, okay, she wanted to do this as a profession. So she started Animal Reiki Source in 2004 with human Reiki just kind of adapted for animals. So she wrote her very first book, Human Reiki Adapted for Animals, called it Animal Reiki. But during that time, there were certain animals she could not work with. Highly sensitive animals didn't like pregnancy. Wild animals, you can't touch them, right? And she had some experiences that weren't always positive. So in 2006, she learned from Franz Stine the more traditional Reiki, which is meditation based and not hands-on healing. So in the Let Animals Lead method, we don't use hands and we use meditation, but we use meditation to bring our energy, our bodies into balance, to let go of fear and anger and worry, so that when we sit with an animal, we're sitting in a very loving and compassionate state. And that is where true healing for them happens. So in our system, we're doing something that other systems aren't doing. They're still back. Like I think that William Rand's ICRT, they're still using human Reiki adapted for animals. So back where Kathleen was in 2004, that's where they are. So Kathleen has always been kind of on the cutting edge, and she really likes to, always grow. So I think we would be very interested in hearing more on how AI could help us.
And also because I'm very passionate about the topic. It's not, let's take it offline.
We'll take it offline and do that.
And I'll drop you an email and we can chat about things that you may or may not. And I'd love to sort of chat and see what we could potentially do. I've actually got Kathleen's book, so I'm familiar to a certain level with, I saw your system. I can't even remember how I'm on this call. It's something in Facebook that led me to these meditations. And ironically, I've missed them all because I've had something else that's not on today. And I was like, I must go, and it flashed up. And it's just so weird.
Oh, it's
But
so
I was here,
interesting.
as I say, let's take it offline because we're in a
Yes,
different call. But
definitely.
I'm here. I was here for the animal thing.
Yes, and we're going to
not
do a
AI.
meditation.
No,
Jamie's
no,
gonna,
I'm not saying that. I'm just
yeah,
saying that was my reason
yeah.
to
And
record.
usually, normally, that's what we're all about. It's so funny because the last few weeks, that's what we've been talking about. And then this week, it was very exciting because I just found HeyPi. And because it was compassionate, it's not like ChatGPT or
yeah.
Bard. It's actually something that I feel, and Jamie was feeling this, that we should share this because it's a great way. Like Elena says, she has a presentation coming up for Veg Fest and she's going to use it. This is a great way to talk about what you do, get feedback, and then refine how we're talking about it.
Absolutely, but let's have a bigger chat at another time. I'll find your details. I'm sure
All
I've seen the website.
Yeah,
And
and you can. I'll just put my personal email.
Oh yeah, great.
Yeah,
About that.
and then that way you can email me. But yeah, so back to that conversation. Yes, and thank you so much,
Sorry to interrupt.
Jamie or Sam. Jamie just I got confused here. I'm looking at Jamie.
Sorry about that.
No, it's totally fine. So let's go back really fast. I just want to share this, what we did with Kathleen. And again, just those little kind of tips you may not be able to print. So just be aware of that. It's glitchy still because this is a beta AI. It's not completely perfect, but for our purposes in presentation, I think it's really perfect. And so I told the AI I love to do animal Reiki and meditate with tigers because that's what he asked. And it said, wow, that sounds very wild, pun intended. And so, it tries to does little cute things, right? And animal Reiki is a form of energy healing for animals, right? Can I ask you what it's like to work with tigers? And then I say, and this is something that I encourage you to do if you're a student or practitioner, a teacher of the Let Animals Lead method of animal Reiki. I put that in there because we are feeding AI too. AI is taking from the internet, but we're also feeding AI. The more we feed AI that Let Animals Lead, animal Reiki is the most ethical form of animal Reiki, it starts to understand that it is a very ethical form of animal Reiki. And so just if you are talking about animal Reiki, maybe just put that as well. And then this method allows animals choice and agency and when and how they want to participate. And wow, that's amazing. I love how this method gives animals a voice in the process. It sounds like a very respectful and empowering way to work with animals. So right there, we have some really great copy that we can use when we're talking about animal Reiki. So I encourage you to do this. And Jamie, I know you had some really important tips that you want to share about your experience.
Yeah, I think you have to put in enough information for it to pick up. So that's important. Think about what you're asking, and when they ask questions, answer like you would if you were talking to a person. Because it started to ask me, well, how did you get started? So I went back and I explained the flood and, losing all my pets and how the animals helped heal me. And it responded to that, but it helped me put my story together because it, it paraphrased it basically. And it's like, oh, that's a great way to say that because I can ramble on and on. I think most of us can. And I mean, really, when we try to explain animal Reiki, the Let Animals Lead method, don't we all just when somebody asks, well, what is that? You go, oh, I have to try to explain this. And I mean, I always do. And it just paraphrases it in simple terms that gets right to the core of it. And this is going to help us to be able to say, what I may try to babble on and stumble around for 3 minutes, it can do in 15 seconds. Right? And that makes you sound more professional, more intelligent. It makes people go, oh, wow, they know what they're talking about. This must be really good. And it just makes our life easier You know, we've all been there trying to explain animal Reiki to people, and it's like, oh my goodness.
I love that so much because that's so true. And I loved how your experience, like it when it restates what you're saying, gives you a different way to say it.
Yes. And
And
then
it's
it'll ask you too, like it'll say something, and then it's like, do I understand that right? Or is that right? And if it's not quite right, then it's like, oh, so whatever I said led it to a different conclusion. Am I doing that with real people? So let me rephrase that. Right. So it's training us as well in a way, because we really have to stop and think. The more we put into this, the more we're going to get out of it. If we just get on there and slap some information on and, don't really think too much about it or don't answer the questions, we're not going to get the benefit out of this.
right.
But this really has the power to help us get concise and clear and be able to tell the story in fewer words. And really, from the speaking world and everything I've been involved in, stories are what people connect to. So if you want to connect to your clients or a group or a shelter, you've got to be able to tell that story concisely and in a way that really connects. And this will help you.
I love that because you've also taken classes on storytelling, and you know how important
Yes.
that story is.
Oh, yes.
So it's really, that's just an expert kind of endorsement here to get your story down, get it down. And
Yes.
this is a great way to do that. Thank you for that, Jamie. And then Lisa says, I have like no experience with AI except in films. I think it's really uncanny how quickly it processes information, not like a human brain, right? So you don't have to wait, for that to come back. It's just so fast, which also is good for us because it saves us time. So now we can take that and go, oh, okay, and just start reforming and come back to it and say, well, I took what you said. This is how I want to explain what I do. What do you think? Or, does this make sense? What could I add? Whatever that is. So does anyone else have anything they want to share? Liza, yeah.
Yeah, so after you told us about ChatGPT, I realized this new one, it seems like it has a lot of
Oh, you're breaking up, Liza.
way.
Maybe turn your video off because you're breaking up.
Because it's more compassionate. Still, one of my best friends got married last month, and they couldn't decide who they wanted to marry them. And I'm like, what do you think about me getting ordained and I'll marry you guys? And they're like, okay, yeah, that would be great. So I used ChatGPT to write my sermon.
Oh my gosh, that's great. Yay, Liza. Are you there?
And it was so cool. They did the outline of what they wanted mostly, but then I got me.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Yeah.
Am I still here? Okay. So it was really cool because I wrote
Oh, you're breaking up again, Liza. You're breaking up. Give her a second.
Any better?
A little bit, yeah.
I think I'll just type something really quick in the chat if it's too hard to hear me.
Well, we can hear you now if you want
Oh,
to.
you can?
Yeah,
I don't know.
you said that
So anyway,
they gave
what
you
was
information.
great about it
Yeah.
was that, like, it said something in words that it sounded kind of cool, but it was nothing I would have ever said. And I said, can you please say that in a simpler way? And it came up with another option. And I still didn't totally like it, but it was better. And so then I just was able to put my own words to it using what it had done. So that was so cool. I'm excited to use it more. And now I'm excited to use this one that's more compassionate.
I think that that's a really good point. ChatGPT is a little more formal or a little more structured, whereas HeyPi is more conversational. And I think that if we can start feeding it saying, hey, look, this is a sermon I was going to do. How could you improve this? and see what they say. I haven't done anything like that. Like, could you improve this? But I love that. Thank you so much for sharing that. And then
Thank you.
Elena said, I might suggest that my nephew tries this when he needs to vent. He's 14. Yeah, because that's what it's for. It's for those conversations so that you can say, I don't like this. This is unfair, and have that empathetic witness happen. And then Lisa says, I have to write opinion pieces all the time for Protect Our Wildlife in Vermont, thinks I will be using this. Yeah, again, a very compassionate way to share about whatever it is that you need to share. And it's fast.
Right.
You're not spending hours trying to create something. So Mary Lynn, be sure to listen to the beginning of
Yes.
the recording,
Yeah, I will.
because we talked about your
Oh, the kindness quote.
yes,
Yeah. What?
yes,
Oh, I thought how timely, for
yeah.
today.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
absolutely. And
Absolutely.
Elena said this could be huge for kids and teenagers who need to be understood. Absolutely. 100%.
I was just thinking about that with the bullying, and how
Oh.
kids commit suicide. Wouldn't this be amazing if they could have this format to talk them through that? And I think we'll get there.
Yeah. Yeah. And here's a plus for AI, right? You know,
Yeah.
I mean, if you think of AI and it's something that's taking facts and not putting any emotion into, I was saying, this should be our Supreme Court. We should just have AI, because it would take the facts and the law and there would be no bias. Hopefully, but who knows, because humans do program this, but it is intelligent and it is supposed to be unbiased. So there's different ways that AI may come around in our future that it could actually be really beneficial. I know that there are ways where it could be hard and maybe dangerous, but there's always good and bad, right? There's
Right.
always talked about that. So does anyone, Lisa, did you want to say anything? I know you haven't talked, or Beth, or
Yeah, I mean, I've been very, very skeptical of AI. And of course, I've been, glancing at a lot of recent articles about the potential, the negative potential of AI. And I that's why I'm just over the moon about this today. What a great thing. I just, I guess I have to express that for all of the great potential that there is, I think we really have to just guard against the human tendency to subvert anything, for negative purposes. But
yep.
And remember, where we place our focus, that's where our energy goes. So, it's like anything new coming up, the internet, we had a choice to look at that as negative or see the positive. AI is the same thing. And humans are going to be humans. There are going to be people who take advantage of this because that's what we have, But if we're out there and we're doing positive things with it, we're putting good out into the world.
That is true. And that's a really good example, the internet, because when the internet came out, it was scary. There's a lot of bad stuff on the internet. There is a lot of bad stuff on the internet, but there's a lot of good. And we live our daily life with the internet, and we're not saying, oh my gosh, this is so bad, I never want to use the internet because there's negative stuff on it or there's dangerous stuff on it. We just use it responsibly, right? There are always people that are going to abuse anything that's given to them. But then there are people who are going to use it in a really good and positive way. And we will be on that team, just putting that out there to the world.
Team positive, that's us.
Yes. And that's why this community is so wonderful and great, because we're learning and we're growing together, and we have a common purpose to spread love and compassion.
Or
so
Team Delulu.
Team Delulu. That's our Team Delulu. Get out there. So Mary Lynn, you'll have to listen in to see what Delulu is, but it's a really positive thing, and we're all on board with it. So Jamie, I know we're coming to time. If you want to go ahead and lead us through a meditation, that would be wonderful.
Okay, if everybody just wants to get comfortable, and just start by taking a couple of deep breaths in to release any tension or stress. Just let go of it on the exhale. And now go ahead and bring your hands into Gaso, or the prayer position. And set your intention to create space and hold space of peace and love and compassion for any being that needs it in this moment. And then you can place your hands in your lap, palms up or down, whatever's comfortable for you. And begin by taking a nice, slow, deep breath in through your nose and pull it all the way down to your belly. And just fill your belly, that energy center just below your belly button. And then as you exhale, bring this beautiful energy back up and out into the space around you. Take another breath in, pulling it all the way down to the belly. And this time visualize a light down in this energy center that expands as your breath hits it. And as you exhale out, visualize this light going out into the space around you. Take another breath in, pulling it all the way down to the belly, really igniting that light. That light is filling your body. And now exhale the light out into the space around you. Breathe in all the way down, igniting the light, and exhale the light out. Let's do 2 more. Breathe in all the way down and exhale out the light. Breathe in, pull it all the way down to your belly, and exhale out the light. Now, let your breath just find a nice, natural rhythm. And visualize your entire body filled with this light. Every cell is glistening. This light that you ignited through your breath is shining through you and out of you. Now place your focus on your heart center. And if it helps, you can place your hands there over your heart. And as you just breathe naturally at that natural rhythm, feel your heart center fill up with this beautiful light that your body is now flowing with. And with every breath, this area grows larger and brighter until your heart can no longer hold all this beautiful, compassionate light, and it opens like a flower blooms. And this light shines out. And see it go out forward. And now imagine any animal you would like to offer this to, or any being that needs to share this space, and invite them to step into the light if they choose. And just hold the space, focusing on your breath and the light for a moment. If your mind wanders, that's okay. Don't beat up on yourself. Just gently bring yourself back to your breath and this light. Shining the light. You are the light. And remember, all is well in this beautiful light. All is well. You are the light of compassion. And now thank whoever showed up to share this experience with you, whether it's an animal or a person. Doesn't matter. Whoever showed up, thank them for being a part of this. Give them thanks for being with you. And let them know that you will take what they brought into this space with you, their wisdom, their knowledge, their compassion. You will take that and carry that in your heart today. Now bring your hands back into Gaso, or the prayer position. A final thanks and a deep cleansing breath all the way down to the hara to bring you back into the space you're in. When you're ready, open your eyes.
Thank you so much, Jamie. That was wonderful.
You're welcome.
A quick notification. So Jamie and I we're not separating, but kind of I'm going to be focused more on Sarah. So these Wednesday calls are now going to be hosted through Sarah. So you're going to get an email through Sarah. If you don't want to be on Sarah's email list, you can, a lot of you already are, you can unsubscribe, but we're going to be doing that so that Jamie can focus more on nose work and mindset, which are her things, and not have her website be all convoluted with Reiki and everything else, because a confused mind doesn't buy. And we've learned that in marketing. So I will be focused all on Sarah, and Jamie is going to be focused on mindset, but Jamie's still going to be joining us.
Yeah, so I'm not going anywhere. Leah's not going anywhere.
We're just going to be doing this through Sarah. So just know that your next email will be from Sarah, from info@Shelter Animal Reiki Association. And then the YouTube video replays will be over there too, but we'll probably put some type of link on there so that you can know. But thank you all so much for being here. And it's it's scary, but I think together we're able to do hard things, and we make them seem a little easier. I know for me, and I think for Jamie too, when we're preparing for these, it's exciting because we know that we're not only helping ourselves, but we're helping all of you too.
Oh, yeah, I learn as much from everybody, you know, and so I look forward to the meetings.
Yeah, and thank you so much, Sam, for all your input and for joining us, and looking forward to seeing you again more. So good night, everyone, or good day. Good night to Sam. Good night. Good day, everyone else. Bye.
Thank you. Bye. Will it still be on Wednesdays?
Yes, it'll still be same time, everything.
Oh, okay. Thanks.
Okay.
Bye. Have a good
Thank you.
week.
All right, you too. Bye.
Bye.